You know that feeling when you walk through your front door, turn the lock, and hear the click, that specific physical wave of relief that washes over you? For most people, that's just coming home. But for you, it's something else. It's the feeling of dropping a heavy backpack you didn't realize you were carrying all day. If you are someone who feels a secret rush of joy when plans get canceled, or if your ideal weekend involves zero human contact and a lot of silence, listen closely. You have probably been told that you're too isolated, antisocial, or that you need to get out more. But today, we're going to flip the script. We are analyzing the psychology of people who genuinely love being alone, the ones society calls loners, but psychology calls autonomous. You're not avoiding the world because you're broken. You're curating your existence because you're self aware. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why your brain craves solitude like it's oxygen. Here is the reality of social interaction that extroverts don't understand. For them, a conversation is an exchange of energy. They give, they get, they leave energized. But for you, social interaction is a performance. Psychologists talk about the concept of the social mask. When you are out in the world, at work, at a party, even getting coffee, you are subconsciously monitoring your facial expressions, your tone of voice, your body language. You are constantly reading the room to ensure you fit in. That is a massive cognitive load. Your brain is running a marathon while everyone else is just taking a walk. When you finally get home and shut that door, you aren't just relaxing, you are ceasing to perform, you are taking off the costume. For the first time in the day, you exist without being perceived, and that is the only true form of freedom. But let's get scientific for a second. Why do you prefer a quiet room over a loud concert? It's not just a preference, it's biology. It comes down to how your brain handles dopamine. Research suggests that people who prefer solitude often have a different sensitivity to dopamine. Extroverts have a lower sensitivity, so they need a lot of stimulation. Loud music, crowds, new faces to feel that buzz. They are chasing the high. You? You have a high sensitivity to dopamine. You don't need the marching band to feel alive. In fact, that level of stimulation pushes you into over arousal. It feels like anxiety. It feels like chaos. Your brain finds its buzz in low dopamine activities: reading, deep thinking, organizing a shelf, a slow walk. Society calls this boring. Science calls it efficient. You don't need the world to entertain you because your inner world is already a 24-hour cinema. This brings us to the default mode network. This is a network in the brain that lights up when you aren't focusing on the outside world. For many people, being left alone with their thoughts is terrifying. They get bored instantly. But for people who love staying home, the default mode network is a playground. This is where you process memories, plan the future, and daydream. Studies have shown that people who are comfortable in solitude tend to score higher on measures of empathy and self-reflection. Why? Because you actually take the time to process what happens to you. While everyone else is rushing to the next distraction, you are at home, sitting in the quiet, actually feeling your feelings. That takes a kind of bravery most people don't have. However, we have to talk about the other side of the coin, the dangerous side, because there is a very thin line between solitude and isolation. And if you love staying home, you need to know the difference. Solitude is a choice. It's a state of being where you are full. You are alone, but you are not lonely. You are engaged with yourself. This is restorative. This is where the battery recharges. Isolation, however, is based on fear. This is when you stay home, not because you love your home, but because you fear the world. This is when the haven becomes a bunker. You have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you staying in because you are enjoying your own company? Or are you staying in because the idea of being judged or rejected or awkward feels too heavy? If you find that your world is getting smaller and smaller, if you stop answering the phone, if you stop opening the blinds, if you feel relief but also a sinking numbness, that is not the psychology of solitude. That is the psychology of avoidance. Comfort is addictive, and if you aren't careful, the safety of home can turn into a velvet cage. The walls that protect you can also stop you from growing. So the healthiest people who love being alone are actually the ones who force themselves to go out occasionally, not because they want to, but because they know the contrast makes the solitude taste sweeter. But let's assume you're in the healthy zone. You're just a person who loves the sanctuary of home. What you possess is something the modern world is desperate for: focus. We live in an attention economy. Everyone is distracted, pinging from one notification to the next. But the person who stays home, the person who can sit in a chair for 3 hours with a book or a project, you possess a superpower called deep work. History's greatest thinkers, writers, artists, inventors, they were almost all obsessed with solitude. They didn't create masterpieces while shouting over music at a club. They created them in the silence of a room where the door was locked. You are prioritizing depth over width. Most people have 100 shallow friendships and 1,000 surface level experiences. You might have 3 close friends and a handful of experiences that you feel down to your bones. There is a concept called JOMO, the joy of missing out. While everyone else is suffering from FOMO, scrolling through Instagram, wondering why their life isn't a movie, you are experiencing the intense satisfaction of being exactly where you want to be, wearing what you want, eating what you want, not waiting for the check, not laughing at jokes that aren't funny. You are the master of your environment. In a world that is chaotic, loud, and unpredictable, your home is the one place where you are the god of your own universe. You control the lighting, you control the sound, you control the energy. So if you are the type of person who feels a little guilty when you tell a lie to get out of a dinner party, and stop. You aren't boring. You are preserving your energy for things that actually matter to you. You aren't antisocial. You are pro-peace. The world tries to tell you that living life to the fullest means doing more travel, more parties, more networking. But maybe living life to the fullest is actually about doing less, but feeling it more. If you can be alone with yourself and not feel the urge to escape, you have achieved a level of mental strength that most people spend a lifetime chasing. You are your own best company. Hit subscribe if you're watching this from the comfort of your bed and you have zero intention of moving. And listen, there is a specific reason why you feel drained by certain people instantly. Energy vampires are real, and the psychology behind them is terrifying. That's what we're breaking down in the next video. Click it before you have to go talk to someone. You need to be prepared.